Yours was still out of sync last episode, just so you know.
I know.
And that's real fun sitting there, nudging the audio track back and forth while trying to read your lips.
And I will figure it out because it annoys me just as much as it annoys you. I would prefer it just to be perfect every time, and it will be perfect every time, just not yet.
Yeah.
I will adjust it by 1 millisecond every podcast that we record, and eventually in right around episode 60, it'll be like dead on.
Well, that would be nice. Yeah, that's how long.
So you better get used to it.
Oh yeah.
That's when the show will really hit its stride too. Once you get in sync, yeah. I mean,
that's what I think.
I think that'll be the golden age of the podcast, really.
Yeah,
it is.
Anyway, you're listening to episode 3 of Here's My Question for You, and if you're just listening and not watching, and you hear a strange voice, it's because we finally have. I shouldn't say finally. It's only episode 3, but we're excited to have our first guest in the form of Dustin.
What's up?
Yeah.
I take offense to being told I have a strange voice.
Well, just, not part of the usual cast.
A stranger's
yeah.
voice.
And I mean, if you choose to, you can, tell the folks at home who you are, or if you want to just be mysterioso about it.
Oh,
that's
sure.
Cool too.
No, I will never pass up an opportunity for self-promotion. Yeah, I'm Dustin. I have a YouTube channel that is just called Dustin Kramer, but you can probably find me a lot easier if you look up the name of my flagship show. It's called From Camera to Console, where I talk about movie tie-in games. Usually delve into the history of a movie, depending on what the game is and what the game actually is a tie-in to. I might go into a few movies, and then the second half of the episode is talking about the game that was inspired by or tied into that particular movie.
That's awesome. Have you, by any chance, covered Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves for the NES yet?
I have not. I have a master list of all of the movie tie-in games that I can find, and I've got some like prioritized over others, but I would say it's probably mid-list right now. It's in there.
All right. I'm throwing it out there because I was impressed by that. It's a pretty good game.
Is it? Okay. All right. Well,
yeah, I was when I played it, I was surprised because I have preconceived notions about movie licensed games, and so whenever one of them is good, it's more like a pleasant surprise.
Sure, that was actually kind of the impetus for the whole show. Is that there's movie tie-in games have bad reputation, generally speaking, and I think that there's value in trying to find the diamonds in the rough, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll bump that up. I'm happy to get a recommendation like that. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. All right,
it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, nice.
The movie is. I
used to love the movie. Yeah.
I mean, does the game have a version of the Bryan Adams song? Everything I do it for you.
Not that I saw, which is fine. I hate that. I hate that song. I'm not a Bryan Adams fan at all. So, but the game follows the plot of the movie and everything. And, it's pretty good game. So I understand, Corey, you got Dustin up to speed on the sort of the format of the show, or rather the lack of format.
I showed him some of the video of episode 1, episode 01.
Yeah. It's too bad. I wish I had uploaded episode 2 because it ended up being a really good one, I thought. So.
Did it?
Yeah, I liked it. I like your whole story about the pawn shop and the wiggle room. Like I thought, just especially because like that's exactly where the show starts. Is right on that. I don't know. I just thought I was like, man, as I was editing it, it's like, man, this is a pretty good show.
Like that's the cold open.
So
it's talking.
The cold open. Is you just saying, tell me if this sounds stupid or something like that. I don't know. I just thought it was like, if that doesn't hook them, I don't know what's going to hook them.
I can't. Man, I've had so many conversations with Corey that started with him saying, tell me if this sounds stupid.
Yeah, that really actually says a lot about Corey. If you think
it's kind of his catchphrase
in his confidence level.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it's coming out of your mouth, famous Corey, like by default, it can't be stupid. So like, there you go. Hey, so I got kind of, maybe this is a quick one. I don't really know. Like, I know it's music again, so whatever, but, it's just, this popped into my head the other day. No, yesterday. So yesterday I was washing one of our cars, at one of those pay and spray places. I don't know. Maybe you guys have a different
Do you
nickname
just pay
for
and you
them
get like
over
the big
there.
like the long barreled hose and it has
Yeah.
different levels to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. There's like the brush, that like
Spits out like all the
foamy
soap. And and then it smells super good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the one I go to, they have like music that plays over some PA speakers while you're, it's a pretty cool place. But anyway, so I'm there and I'm, doing whatever and cleaning the car, and a Tom Petty song comes on, right? Because it's one of the local radio stations that they have, piping over the speakers there, which I'm not even sure if that's legal, but anyway, so this Tom Petty song comes on, and it reminded me of like this thought I had a while back. And I thought, I don't know if this is a good conversation topic or not, but like Tom Petty is a guy where like for pretty much my whole life, I always just thought like Tom Petty's like fine, Tom Petty music, it's fine. If it comes on the radio, if I'm in the mood, I'll listen to it. If I'm not in the mood, I'll change the channel. But, aside from like, Mary Jane's Last Dance that came out when I was in high school. So I was kind of like that one a little bit more. Like I only ever owned one Tom Petty album.
Probably Greatest Hits.
No, it was like, oddly enough, it was Wildflowers.
Okay, and that's the one with you don't know how it feels on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't even know why I was in like high school.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
guess
that was the album that came
to
out after Mary Jane's Last Dance hit, because I feel like Mary Jane's Last Dance was or like that song like hit like another generation. Like
absolutely. Yes. Like, yeah, people our age. Yeah. Maybe, we're not quite old enough to be in like the Tom Petty wheelhouse. But anyway, so my point is just like, for my whole life, I was just like, Tom Petty I never had a problem with it. It was just sort of like almost a take it or leave it kind of situation, outside of Mary Jane's Last Dance. And then I don't know what it is, but ever since he passed away, I have like now, anytime a Tom Petty song comes on the radio, I listen to it, and it makes me like, I'm saddened that he died. And I don't really know. It's like something about the fact that he passed away finally got me to really appreciate, at a higher level, like all of his work,
Yeah, I can understand that. And did you ever watch there's like a 4-hour documentary on him that I've never watched it, but I've heard a lot of really good things about it.
No, I have not.
I was
going to say I've never watched a 4-hour documentary, but I did watch one. But the topic of it would be a real downer for the show, so I'm not going to bring it up.
But imagine that, though. I mean, like he has done so much stuff that you could make a 4-hour documentary on him.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I mean, it's my fault for not appreciating him while he was around, but it's just like he's like kind of the only example of somebody that I can really think of where it's like, oh, after they passed away, I became,
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know if it's related.
It does, like you mentioned, his reach does feel, multi-generational, and, all the stuff he did, not just with Heartbreakers, but like Traveling Wilburys and stuff like that. I think, like even, I'm probably about 10 years, almost 10 years younger than you guys. And even I was listening to Tom Petty in high school. So I think that his legacy probably can't be understated.
Yeah, and I mean he died well before his time.
Yeah.
Anyways. Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was a weird situation too, because he get real sick, and they thought he was they announced that he had died or something like that, and then they had to retract that, and then he actually died the next day or something. And people were quoting that song, "I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, and I won't back down." After they had come back and said, "Oh no, he's actually not dead." It's like, you can't kill Tom Petty, and then he died, unfortunately. But yeah, there was some weirdness surrounding his death those couple days.
I mean,
yeah.
And when he died, and Prince died like pretty soon after he died. It seems like. I mean, Dustin, to clear things up, I guess just put this out there. We are not afraid of being wrong on this podcast, and we do not look up information
it's a rule.
You're
not
easily
allowed
be
to
like debunked, like during the show.
I thought Prince died before Tom Petty. Am I wrong about that?
You know what? I remember it being the other way around, but
I'm
you know,
probably wrong.
Yeah.
it's just crazy that both of these like legends kind of died around the same time, really.
Yeah.
But I hate to admit this, but I'll say, I feel the same way about Prince that I felt about Tom Petty. Like I don't deny that, Prince is a genius or whatever, as a songwriter and a guitar player and everything else. But like if a Prince song comes on the radio, I'm like, yeah, I might listen to that. I might not listen to that. I don't really know. But like when he passed away, I was like, oh, that's a bummer. Prince passed away. But I still don't know. There's something about Tom Petty. I don't know. I don't really get it. And Dustin, just to make you understand the gravity of the we don't look things up and we're not afraid to be wrong and blah, blah, blah. A couple of episodes ago, I got Julie Andrews and Sandy Duncan confused. And you can imagine how mortifying that is. When I figured out I did that, oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Super embarrassing.
It's more fun to speculate on things that you could be wrong about, instead of just like, hey, I know the answer. Like, you ever notice that? Because when you pull out your phone and you're like, let's find out, like in the moment, and then you've like opened the floodgates to like looking at your phone way too much for the rest of the evening. Once that,
like once you pull it out the first time, it's like, well, now I guess we're doing that.
Yeah.
So, the thing is, you wouldn't have to do that, but the problem is when you get the one person who still thinks that we live in a world where we don't have access to information in our pocket and just wants to like dig in their heels and insist that they're right about something that they're clearly wrong about. How can you not want to pull your phone out? Just so like, here, can I just show you you're wrong so that we can like move past this?
But even then,
please,
like they'll think that it's
you're
just misinformation.
Yeah.
So was your question maybe that do we have an artist that we didn't appreciate until after they died?
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. It doesn't have to even be a musician. Just like, is there anybody where like an actor or an athlete or just whatever? We'll see. Maybe
Chris,
we'll go back to it.
Your video's all jacked up again. You got the scan.
Yes,
you got the vertical scan lines going again.
Yes, I know. Last time it fixed itself. There you go. See, it fixed itself.
All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is there anybody where you're like, I wish I had appreciated that person when they were like around to appreciate?
I feel like Petty's is a definite example of that. Although, like anything like post Wallflower, I don't even recall hearing. I don't think that he had like a hit that.
Wildflowers.
Wildflowers. Wallflower. Yeah. I'm thinking of the what's his face?
You're thinking of Bob Dylan's kid.
Bob Dylan's kid. Yeah.
Jacob with a K.
Yeah.
That's right.
That really annoyed me because like I hate it when artists cover a song by like a really famous song by another really famous artist and they don't even really do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Johnny Cash did his cover of like Hurt from 9 Inch Nails. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's still the same song, but it's like a completely different song.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Yeah, and
but like when the Wallflowers did, the Bowie song Heroes, it's like you did the exact same song. Like what? And then it ended up being a hit, which is even more annoying.
That's
it's
true.
Like, well, just go listen to the Bowie song then.
In their defense, they also covered the Bee Gees' "I Started a Joke," and it's totally different and totally great. Yeah. So,
maybe I'll check it out.
Balance has been restored.
Yeah.
Was Wallflowers Heroes? Was that in the in Godzilla, like the U.S. Godzilla movie?
It was on. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if it was in the movie, but I believe it was on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I don't think it was in the movie either.
All right,
and
like I said, doesn't it have Matthew Broderick in it?
Yeah,
sure does.
And Jean Reno is in it.
Who?
That's right.
The Leon, the Professional. You ever seen The Professional? Natalie Portman.
But I know. Okay, then I know who you're talking about, though. I haven't seen it, but I can.
Well,
I can visualize
you never played,
the box
Onimusha 3 Demon Siege.
I've never played any of the Onimusha games.
Well, he's in.
He sure is.
Onimusha 3 Demon Siege.
Oh, Siege! I thought you said Demon Seed, and I was. My brain went in a whole different direction with that.
You get like the past and the present are getting sieged by demons and that.
Sounds.
I mean, I think
sounds
I
serious.
have it, but I've never really played it.
I think there's like time
Yeah.
travel in that game.
Yeah.
Like you have to. I can't remember who you're playing. I think you're back playing Samanosuke from the first one, because you played as Yagyu Jubei maybe in the second one. Is that right?
And then they forgot about him. I think after that point.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. I like Onimusha too.
Yeah, was that Samurai's Destiny?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of musicians that died.
Well, first of all, they don't have to be musicians, and they don't even really have to be.
It could be
what
like
if,
artists, like any kind of
or like
entertainers.
I could think of far more examples personally of like athletes, where like because I'm really into watching sports, where like for one reason or another, like within the context of fandom, like I hated them when they played. Like I don't actually hate them as people, but you know what I'm saying. And then but they were like really, really great, and then after they retired, then you're like, well, I wish I had appreciated the greatness of that person more rather than just like, hating them. Or like another example would be like when Dave Letterman stepped down as host of the Late Show.
That's a good example, I think. Yeah.
I watched that and it's like you couldn't help but think of like all those nights I could have watched the Late Show and didn't because you just knew, well, I can watch that anytime I want. And then he retired and then you're like, well, okay, now I can't. Now I'm on YouTube looking at clips instead.
I mean, I was lucky in that I watched a lot of David Letterman when he was on, like as it was happening, and a lot of Conan. I watched.
Weirdly, I would say that I did that with Roger Ebert. Like, after he died, it was actually a little while after he had already died, and that documentary came out called Life Itself about him. Mm-hmm. And like what he did for film criticism and kind of making it more broadly appealing and not just sort of this niche New York upscale thing. Art criticism in general is very like kind of niche New York, high life, high class type stuff. And he's sort of democratized in a way, the art of criticism, film criticism or art criticism. Mm-hmm. And that documentary is super, super good. And it got me on a tear where I just went through YouTube and just watched as much of his show with Gene Siskel as I possibly could. And I'm a big fan.
I loved watching Siskel and Ebert when it was on. And it was just because, you can, in a time before the internet to get to like hear opinions on movies, like it was really exciting. And you'd also get to see like clips and stuff like that before you saw a movie. And the other thing I liked about Roger Ebert is it felt like he was totally okay, like admitting that he was wrong when it was wrong about something, or he'd like messed something up. That's something you don't see as much these days.
I also loved how much they seem to really hate each other.
Yeah, but you knew that they didn't.
Of course. And they talk about that in the documentary. That's a great doc if you're interested in kind of a top-down view of like his contribution to that world. I think it's really great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that like when that show was on, they kind of let that whole, not even really a rumor, but just sort of the perception? I mean, you got to think that maybe created more of a buzz for the show, and people would watch like, oh yeah, those two guys can't stand each other. Like, I got to watch this and see what happens.
Drama, built-in drama.
Hey, maybe we should do that.
Just hate each other?
Or
no,
like make it seem like we don't like each other. And
we're not going to really hate each other. I'm saying we're going to get into like a Twitter spat.
Yeah, we're going to beef with each other.
Oh, that's a great idea.
There was a story. I can't remember the guy's name. Anthony Jeselnik. Is what it was.
Yeah.
You've heard of that guy, Anthony? I don't like that guy. But anyway, him and Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald is maybe one of my all-time, well, not maybe, he's one of my all-time favorite comedians. He might be my all-time favorite comedian. And there was some reality show that they were on together. It was some kind of stand-up. I don't watch reality shows, but it was like, like an America's Got Talent kind of thing, but it was all just stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. And I think like, Norm was like one of the judges and Anthony was like the announcer guy that would be on the stage and whatnot. And like, they had like made this deal behind the scenes, like, hey, we're going we're going to start making the public think that we have like this beef with each other. Like we'll start like slamming each other in interviews and whatnot, you know, to make people think that we can't stand each other. And so Anthony Jeselnik starts going and doing that. And then like Norm didn't do it at all. Because that's 100% a Norm thing to do. Absolutely. Because then he made Jeselnik look like a huge douche. Yeah. And you can go on YouTube and you can find clips of that, of him just saying horrible things about Norm, but you can't find anything of, you know, Norm saying something bad about him.
Do you think that he probably thought it was funny eventually?
Oh, exactly. Right? Exactly.
You know, because it's like, all right, so I'm playing my part, and it's even funnier that the other person is not.
Yes.
Like, exactly. Just like kept up their end of the.
Was it? I can't remember if Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler, if their tiff was real or if it was put on.
No, that was 100% not real.
100% not real. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, it's funny you bring that up only because it was maybe a week or two ago that I went down this little YouTube rabbit hole of watching interviews with Jerry Lawler talk. Because I mean, if you watch an interview, like, you know, more recent interview with Jerry Lawler, like, he clearly thinks the world of Andy Kaufman. And like, he would talk about how like Andy wanted to do that because he was a huge wrestling fan, mm-hmm. but he was also he was fascinated with the idea of being a heel, because it's really the same thing that he did with his comedy. Mm-hmm. Was like, I'm going to make you hate me, but you can't stop watching. Right. It's easy for a comedian to get the audience to just walk out. Yeah. Right. But it's a lot harder to get the audience to just like, I can't stand you, but I also can't get out of my seat because I have to see what happens next.
So that raises a question. Did Andy Kaufman invent the concept of the hate watch? Because that's a thing. I mean, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Like you just watch because you hate something, right? And you
hate something, so it's like, you know,
it's related to morbid.
It's related to the idea of morbid curiosity, right? Where it's, you know, you can't look away from a car wreck or something. You know? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Did you guys ever watch Taxi?
Oh yeah, I love Taxi. I was just talking about Taxi.
Yeah,
last
you're
night.
saying it's your favorite sitcom of all time.
It's my favorite classic sitcom. Yeah, for sure. Probably my favorite sitcom of all time. That theme song.
Oh awesome. Yeah, but I mean, I used to watch that, you know, when it was on. I mean, I was not really old enough to watch it when it was like, you know, in first run or whatever. But you know, I watched it in syndication. But that was like the only thing I knew Andy Kaufman. Like, I didn't know about all the other stuff. You know, whether it was like his stand-up stuff or the whole thing with Jerry Lawler. So like, I didn't find out about that until later. It was kind of like, you know,
I watched a really great clip from that.
Not shocking, but surprising.
Where they're like taking like their taxi driving tests or something like that, and Kaufman like made everybody like laugh and they couldn't stop. Or isn't that like, I forgot what the entire scene was like, but like he was trying to like whisper the answers to him or something like that.
Oh, I don't remember. I haven't watched Taxi in a super long time, but I mean, I've seen a bunch of it and I love it. And that cast, if you look at that cast going back, I mean, the cast is ridiculous. It is stacked.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got Christopher Lloyd and Danny DeVito and Tony Danza. Yeah. Amazing. Carol Kane.
You know that,
love Carol Kane.
Oh yeah. Mary Lou Henner, you know, from the show, you know, I don't know if you haven't seen this is worth watching too. Like, you know, she has a photographic memory.
Yes, I do. It's a weird thing.
You can like watch interviews with her where somebody could ask her like, oh yeah, you remember this one time that, you know, Andy had the thing with the contract and like, you know, his alter ego, Tony Clifton, had to, you know, whatever. And she could be like, oh yeah, that was like, you know, July 27th, 1975. Yes. That was a Thursday. And I mean, she can do that with like everything.
It's dates. It's like specifically dates where you can either recall something from her past or you can pick a date from the past and she can tell you what she was doing on that day.
Yeah. And what's crazy is just like, you know, as just a contrast, you have her who has this photographic memory. And then, I can't remember her name. Edie Falco, right? I don't know if you guys have watched Sopranos.
Yeah.
So, you know, she played Carmela, right? So Michael Imperioli, who played Christopher Moltisanti, and then I forgot the guy's name that played Bobby Bacala. they started like a podcast and a YouTube show together a couple of years ago, and they did like one episode of the show about every single episode of The Sopranos, right? So it's like a 60 or however many episodes show that they did, and they would get as guests some of the actors that were on the show. And so they had an episode where they had like Edie Falco on, you know, and they would be like asking her like, oh man, you know, there was this scene where it was, you know, you and James, and you know, you were doing this thing and it was just like so intense. And she would just be like, yeah, I really don't remember that. But like anything, like she would be like the worst interview because like, oh yeah, you remember this? And she'd be like, yeah, I don't remember that like at all, you know? But she would admit it's like, no, I just have like a really horrible memory. But I mean, even like, you know, I mean, she's like a famous actress, right? But
I mean, if you had
no, I know that, but I'm saying like if at, you know, at my job, right, which is, you know, a boring, you know, laboratory kind of thing. If I had done something really cool like 5 years ago, like figured out how to fix something we couldn't fix, like if somebody asked me like 5 years later, hey, you remember that time you did whatever? I'd be like, heck yeah, I remember that time. So like the fact that she's like, oh yeah, I don't remember the scene that ended up winning me an Emmy that year. Like,
well,
I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me.
It could be like Frankie Muniz too. You know his deal, right? Where he has some condition, I think, I'm not sure 100% what it is, but I think he has like chronic transient ischemic attacks, which are like mini strokes.
Yeah.
And he has had so many of these in his life that it's affected his long-term memory. And I had read at some point that he does not remember most of his time on Malcolm in the Middle. He just does not remember doing it at all.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's
super
terrible.
sad.
He just gets paid like residuals now.
He's like, what's this for?
Like, oh,
yeah, that'd be nice. Like you get money in the mail and you're like, what?
I mean, there's probably a lot of child actors that wish that they had that problem about their time working on stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what's her face that was on iCarly? She released that book.
Oh yeah, I wish was
right.
it? Oh, I'm glad my mom is dead.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I live and work in a college town on a college campus, and you know, that book. You know, if you go into the bookstore, like you overhear like all these college girls coming in and they're excited about, oh yeah, there's that book I told you about. You got to read it because you know it's like these kids that are at college age now are like the perfect age.
Yeah.
That you know they grew up watching that show. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I wonder how much extra money the local bookstore's making.
I mean, all those shows are so weird. It's so weird. I mean, because my daughter's kind of getting into watching some of those, like Victorious and stuff like that. And it's pretty.
I don't know any of that.
What's that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know iCarly. I only know that because it was the punchline to like a Norm Macdonald joke.
Well, it's pretty. You watch it now, and it's like, you know, it's kind of crazy, like how like sexualized like the young girls that are in those shows are. Like they make them.
Well, I guess, but now we know why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because of Dan Schneider.
Yeah.
Isn't that the guy's name? The guy that worked for, was it Disney or Nickelodeon or something?
Yeah,
and he was Nickelodeon. Yeah.
And I didn't realize.
But it's funny because
creep.
That he was.
I only ever heard
class.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't. You know, I would read about this stuff. You know, when that all came out, I was like, wow, this Dan Schneider guy sounds like a real jerk.
He played a character.
But it wasn't until way later I saw it was an article and his picture was there. And I was like, that guy looks super familiar. And I still had to look it up but I used to love Head of the Class.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that was the guy. Like, wow.
I remember it being like as a kid who like struggled with his weight a lot. I remember seeing the episode of that show where, you know, like, because the character that Dan Schneider played, I think his name was Dennis, and he was like always like the fat Joker guy. Mm-hmm. And then there was. When a new season started, he came in the first episode, he came in and he was like in a big like tracksuit, and it made it look like he gained a bunch of weight over the summer. And then he like takes it off and he like lost a bunch of weight. And I remember, like, that's the only scene from that show that I remember, but I remember it being like, you know, maybe I could lose some weight.
Yeah. Did you?
Maybe. I don't, probably not then, no.
I had an experience kind of like that in high school. I went on keto when I was in like 10th grade. Mm-hmm. And I did it all through the summer and like started exercising and stuff like that. And I dropped like 70 or 75 pounds or something, you know, just youth and youthful metabolism along with like doing the keto thing. We called it Atkins back then.
Yes,
kids.
the Atkins diet.
Right.
Yes.
And I came back from my junior year like looking like a totally different person, and I felt different, and I feel like people treated me different, and it was kind of eye-opening.
Yeah. I mean, I had a situation like that where I lost a bunch of weight between my ninth and 10th grade year. It might have been 10th and 11th. I'm pretty sure that it was 9th and 10th, but it might have been 10th and 11th. Because like I got, like there was this girl I really, really had a thing for and just had no interest in me. So I'm like, I put that pain into losing weight all summer long. It didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
But, like I remember getting on the scale and being under 200 pounds for like, the first time since I was like 13 or 14 or something like that.
You made it to Wonderland, they call it.
What is Wonderland?
That's like if you get down below 200 so that you're one something, people who are dieting will say like, oh yeah, I'm back in Wonderland, like Wonderland.
Oh, okay.
I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Like I guess I like once I get down to 200, like going below is like it takes a lot of work to just get even a single pound underneath 200. I think that my body is like the happiest there. I mean, I would love to weigh 185 pounds and just like be at that weight all the time. But sounds like
I think when I first started my YouTube show, that's about where I was at, like 190, 185. Because I watched my trailer yesterday for some reason, which is all clips from like the first couple of years of the show, and it's crazy to look at it. Like my beard is totally brown instead of gray, and like,
I remember. I do.
And I was
that.
definitely a bit skinnier back then. But I agree with what you said. It's like you like I had to really try very hard to get down that low, and like the minute I kind of like took my foot off the gas, you just drift above.
That's just where your body is the happiest, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
And then you get people like my brother who can like literally eat anything, and he's like, man, I'm like, I've gained so much weight. He's saying, and he's like, I'm like, he's like, I'm 190 pounds. It's like the heaviest I've been. And it's like, and you look at him, it's like, how can he only be 190 pounds? Because I feel like I don't, like in some cases, I look like I weigh less than I actually do.
Yeah.
And I think that it just like annoyed me so much. That
I haven't been 190 pounds since I was a literal child.
It's not fair. And I think that he looks like he's heavier than me, but somehow he's like weighs.
Like he doesn't wear it well, you're saying.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. And just like he's always been able to eat whatever he wants, and it really doesn't have any effect on him.
Well, that you can see
as he gets closer to 50 years old.
That you can see. Like, I got a friend of my wife, is kind of the same thing. Like he's like one of these guys, he won't eat vegetables unless it has to have like cheese sauce on it. Even though he's like, he's like not that much younger than me, but he's just like, well, that's just, he's a picky eater and like, whatever. And so he just eats a lot of junk food, eats a lot of Pop-Tarts. But you look at him and it's like, he seems like a really fit guy, but now he's like 38 years old and he has gout, and so I told my wife, I was like, just,
this is what happens.
You think that some people can just eat whatever they want, but like there's things beyond just gaining weight. There's things that you can't see going on in there.
Have you guys ever done a fad diet that like actually worked?
Yeah, I did. Well, this makes me sound like a hipster.
No, that's the one for me. Yeah.
I did keto, but it was like 10 years ago. Yeah. So it was like before.
Yeah, so it was Adkins.
No, we called it keto. It was like I somehow found it was this little subreddit on Reddit for keto. And I was like, what's this? And I read about it. I was like, I'll do that. But it was called keto, but it was like before, like you couldn't go to the bookstore and just buy like a book about keto, or like there was no keto products on the store shelves or whatever. But I lost like, that's when I started my YouTube channel. That was like, I was coming down off of, getting towards the end of doing that. I lost like 60, 70 pounds, something like that.
You can lose a lot, like without even exercising, like just the way the diet functions. I
exercised literally not at all.
Yeah.
When I did that, I was just like, bacon and eggs or something for breakfast.
Exactly.
In and out protein style for lunch, and then like a steak and some asparagus or
covered with
broccoli for
melted
dinner.
cheddar cheese dipped in,
Oh, yeah.
horseradish.
It's
and
bull crap when you think
mayonnaise.
about it. So much.
It was delicious.
Smothered in butter. The pounds just fall off. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Have you heard about these guys that I haven't checked in on the subreddit in a while, but there are these guys that are trying to make their diet 100% Soylent. That drink that's
Oh yeah. You can like sign up for the subscription service or something for it.
yeah, and it's supposed.
Why would
what
you
are they
name
even
a
thinking,
food
like, naming
product
it that?
Soylent? Like after,
Exactly.
like
right.
have they not seen the movie? Soylent Green is made out of people.
That's exactly why they
It's
named it that.
people.
But the subreddit's hilarious because like every once in a while you'll see someone who's been doing it for like a couple of weeks and they're just like, I feel great, I have so much energy, this is amazing, I'm losing weight and this is all I need and I don't have to think about meals. But most of the posts are people saying in so many words, help, I think I'm dying. Because you're not meant to just drink Soylent. And they're like, what am I doing wrong? I don't understand why my body's shutting down and my liver doesn't work anymore and my kidneys are failing.
I guess for some people are just really not into food.
Yeah.
Maybe having something like that where like, here's this like engineered beverage for you to just drink.
Yeah.
But for me, like I love food. So like, doing the keto thing was cool because I still got to eat. You miss certain things, but there's like plenty of other things to take its place so that you don't have to worry about it too much. But I mean, I know some people who are just like, I only eat for like sustenance or whatever. So
Yeah,
like if there's some
me,
kind of
right? like me.
if there's like some pink slime that they can just ingest.
Well, like texture sensitivities and stuff, I can't imagine having like, that kind of sensation or that sensitivity where the act of eating and having food in your mouth and swallowing is just an unpleasant feeling for you just because of the way your brain is wired. That sounds terrible. But I mean, those people exist for sure.
Since I mentioned pink slime, I rewatched. Have you guys ever seen this YouTube video called Jamie Oliver's War on Nuggets? But it was created. So there's this YouTube channel. If you don't already know about this channel, I mean, he's very famous, so maybe you already do. But like, it's called Folding Ideas.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So he did. It's like 3 or 4 episodes ago. Was this Jamie Oliver's War on Nuggets, which it's just a really good.
Because weren't like nuggets were like made like
it,
this pink slime, right?
But he was making, he's kind of making the point that like Jamie Oliver is just basically being elitist and classist because he's saying like because Jamie Oliver's whole thing is like, well, you can make your own fried chicken for like slightly cheaper than buying chicken nuggets. And like Dan Olson's whole point is like, what's the difference? You're eating fried chicken. Like neither of them are good for you. But like Jamie Oliver's whole thing is like, well,
how much is
those are like parts of the chicken that you don't, that's not the breast or the thigh or the leg. It's like the stuff that gets vacuumed off. Right. And, Dan Olson's thing is like, okay, so we should just like raise and kill chickens and then like throw away the stuff that we think is dirty.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
I don't know. It's just,
it feels
I just
efficient. Like it feels, when you think about what
like he's saying,
slime
so
really
we should be wasteful instead, apparently, according to Jamie Oliver. But I think it popped up in my feed because like he just came out with a new video like the day before yesterday, so I was watching that, and then like the War on Nuggets one came up. But anybody out there, if you've never watched Folding Ideas, like he's just real high level thinker type of guy, but
well researched stuff and like really good.
Yeah, he did like it was like a over 2-hour video like talking about like NFTs and crypto and why it's all like scammy and whatnot.
Is he the one that did that? Like the line goes down or whatever it's called?
Line goes up.
Line goes up. Yes.
Yep. I think that's like his most watched video.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the way the timing on that was perfect, I guess. Really took advantage of NFTs being in the public conscious, like negatively in the public consciousness.
Yeah.
At the time. It feels like now, like everyone's just like forgotten about it. Like you never hear about them anymore, unless it's like some company. Like I know that it's like Game Informer magazine is selling like their covers as NFTs or something like that.
That magazine still exists?
It still exists, but I think I saw some people who actually work for Game Informer said like, no, this is GameStop doing this. like selling these NFTs, and like nobody at Game Informer wants them to do this. You got your scan lines.
It'll be fine.
Right.
I know. I got it.
It looks pretty cool though. It looks like
it does. I mean, probably when I edit the video, I might put something else there or something.
Aesthetic.
I'm not too worried about it.
Say aesthetic.
Yeah. Right. I feel like we're worried too much about the video when like probably the vast majority of people are going to just listen to the show.
Yeah. So, Chris, you have a question?
Yeah. Well, I think I already asked like one or two.
Oh, okay.
Like you,
that was
come up with a
Corey,
question.
do you have a question? How about that?
Yeah.
So my question for you guys is, have you ever broken a bone? And if so, what was it? And how did it feel?
No, next question.
Yeah. So I don't actually know. I may or may not have broken a bone.
Your little toe, you think?
No. One time I was, I rolled my ankle, you know what that means when someone rolls their ankle?
Yeah.
I rolled my ankle and it kind of felt to me like this. I mean, it hurt a whole lot, but, we didn't have like health insurance. And so like my mom wouldn't take me to the doctor, and like, it literally took a year. Like I couldn't put any weight on it. I mean, and it took a year for it to heal. And
really?
Even after then, it still would bother me even after that. But I'm saying after like a year, I could like, I was like ambulatory or whatever. But that if that wasn't broken or fractured or anything, that's the closest I've ever gotten, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I specialize in like flesh wounds. I think I already told you that, towards the beginning of the pandemic, I drilled a hole through my thumb.
Just to see if you could.
No, just being really stupid and unsafe with a drill. And basically, while I was trying to drill something, the drill bit snapped. Oof. But the thing that I was trying to drill, it was small, and I was holding it between my fingers.
Oh, geez.
And so when the drill bit snapped, the jagged stump that was still in the chuck went in one side of my thumb and out the other side.
What's your rule? Do you have a rule on puking on the podcast?
No. But I just feel like I was very lucky. It didn't hit my bone, but it literally went inside, in one side, out the other side.
Did you immediately like pull it off, or were you just like look at it for a second?
Yeah, I pulled. Yeah, no. It was like reflex. Like as soon as that happened, I just ripped the drill out, and I wasn't even sure. Like in that split second, I was like, did that just go through my thumb? And I lifted my hand up and looked, and there was a hole on one side and a hole on the other side and blood coming out. And so, like, my wife had to take me into the emergency room. Mm-hmm. So
got to be careful with that reflex. That's how Steve Irwin died.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it? That's how he like pulled away from the
he pulled
stingray?
It out. Yeah, the stingray stabbed, like the barb broke off in his chest, and he just instinctively reached up and grabbed it and pulled it out. And some doctor at some point was just like, had he not done that, he may have survived.
Yeah. Well, that's why I don't mess around with wildlife really, but, I don't think this was never life threatening, but the doctor like had to numb both sides and then stick a needle, like a big fat needle all the way through it so that he could like slowly like dispense a disinfectant and then pull it back the other way.
Because they're like probably pieces of like, there could have been like pieces of metal or whatever, like little
well,
chips.
Who knows? I mean, that drill bit was certainly not sterilized.
Yeah.
So
is that the worst injury that you've ever had, you think?
Maybe. I mean, I still don't have proper feeling in the tip of my thumb anymore. Like it's like permanently damaged a little bit. So
really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Probably. I mean, I think I've been pretty lucky in life. I haven't really been injured too bad. I mean, this thumb, I've had to go to the emergency room. That was the second time I had to go to the emergency room because of my left thumb. So, or, because of the things I've done to my left thumb. I don't want to make it sound like I'm victim blaming, but, and like, aside from that, I've slammed this thumb in a car door twice to the point that my nail turned black.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude.
And, I don't know. I feel bad for this thumb, but neither, I mean, to answer your original question, at no point did the bone get broken. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I don't think, I was always, as a kid, I was always like a super cautious kid,
Same.
I didn't want to get on a skateboard. I didn't want to like jump off the roof of the garage into the swimming pool when the other kids were doing it. Like I was always like sort of scared, which I don't know is like, I've talked about on my show that, I've had kind of a lifelong anxiety issue. And so I don't know if that was like a way that was sort of manifesting itself of like, the idea of doing something like that was like giving me anxiety or something.
Right.
But,
Well, you don't,
as a defense mechanism, but but like
you have to worry about getting hurt if you don't do anything.
Yeah. But I mean, I've never gone like snow skiing. Like most of the things I can think of where like somebody breaks a bone doing that, I've never really, aside from, one of my favorite hobbies is cycling, but I've just been lucky that I've never broken a bone anytime I've crashed. Hit my head on the pavement and got a concussion.
Oh, really?
But never broke a bone. Yeah.
So when you ride your bike, do you wear a helmet?
Yeah, I do now.
I mean,
but
because as a kid, I never wore a helmet. And then like,
no. When I got the concussion, I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's funny. Everybody's all like, "Oh, you got to wear a helmet now," which you should wear a helmet.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, when we were kids, like, I didn't know, and I don't think I even knew bike helmets were a thing. Like nobody, even like riders in like the Tour de France didn't wear bike helmets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate. I don't like saying this because I don't want to make it seem like I'm encouraging people. But like, I really hate wearing a bike helmet. And so like for a long time, like I had one and I wouldn't wear it, and then I ended up throwing it out. And so I just would not wear a helmet at all when I went riding. But, like I could see what it was like doing to my wife. Like anytime somebody else would bring it up, I would see this look come across my wife's face. Like she was like just deathly afraid that something was going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't wearing a helmet. And so to be honest, like that, if I'm being honest, that's why I wear a bike helmet now. Like if I was single, I would still be out there just with the bare cranium shining in the sun.
Same here.
But
like bike, is it a bicycle or do you have a motorcycle?
Yeah. Oh, no. Just a bike. Like I go out road cycling.
Oh, okay.
Like I'll go ride like, 25, 30 miles out in the country. But so then I have cars whizzing past me going like, 70 miles an hour, which has always been kind of my thing. Like if I'm riding and I get hit by a truck going like 65 miles an hour, not really sure that the helmet is really, I'm at that point I'm worried more about like spinal cord injury or like instant death. But, at the same time, I mean, I've fallen off my bike a few times, like not in probably like 15 or 20 years, but it could happen.
I have never broken a bone, but I am currently dealing with double rotator cuff impingement in both of my shoulders, which is probably the closest I've gotten to the pain of breaking a bone. It's really...
Did that occur, like, did something happen, or is that just like wear and tear?
So I'm not sure exactly. Around Christmas time last year, after Christmas, probably in January, I was lifting a big box, a really, really big box that I had no business lifting by myself. It was way too heavy, and I got it into the house. It was full of like Christmas presents and stuff from my in-laws. And I didn't think I did anything to it at that point, but after that, my left shoulder started, like when I would like open my car door, that action like specifically would hurt, and then like lifting it up a certain way started hurting. And I went to the doctor and they were like, well, we can give you an x-ray and whatnot. They sent me for an x-ray and they said, well, we can't see anything, which means it may very well be a rotator cuff. So we're just going to call it rotator cuff because it matches the symptoms. But be aware that if you have a rotator cuff impingement in one shoulder, then, the use of the other shoulder, like favoring the other shoulder, often causes rotator cuff impingement on the other side. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So the left one is probably 90-95% better now. The right one gives me trouble every single day, and it's been going on since January. So,
geez,
that sucks.
Yep,
that's definitely like a challenge. I think of getting older is like you have to like realize that you can't do
everything.
Like I talked about this before. I don't want to bring it up again, but like when I had to help that old bat on the airplane with her luggage, and I ended up screwing up my back. It's just because I didn't even think about it, because when you're in your 20s, I don't think I ever hurt my back once when I was in my 20s. And if you did, it was like you'd go to sleep and the next day you were fine. But like, as you get older, you have to learn the hard way that, when somebody asks you for help with something, you got to think for a second, like, okay, well, what am I potentially going to do to myself? If I, help me move this refrigerator into my house, because you don't want to say no to people, but at the same time, it's like,
it makes it harder when you're like,
I'm not sure I can do that.
Yeah. It makes it harder when you like appear as a bigger masculine, like you present masculine and large.
Yes.
Like I'm 6'4", I'm very broad, I'm a large dude, right? And people just assume it's like, well, he's clearly got some strength, so can you help me with this thing over here? And I'm like, I can't really.
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
Yes.
And that's, that's kind of emasculating and whatnot, but I mean, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was visiting my mom last week, I had to swap out somehow she ripped like the toilet paper dispenser like off of the wall. Probably because she was using it to like leverage, like help her stand up probably, but it ripped right out.
Which probably needs like a handrail or something then. Yeah.
And it like ripped out. So I was like putting a new one in, and I was like hunched over this thing because it's just like kind of a small bathroom, and I was like hunched over, and I like moved up and I just like felt this like major pain like in my lower back.
Yep.
And I just felt it for days afterwards. And
see, those are the things where it's like, you didn't really do anything wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like,
trying to
okay,
help
I
out.
can't. Well, yeah, but I'm saying like, I learned the hard way that there's certain heavy things I should probably lay off lifting up, right? But like you're saying, what were you really doing, that you would say, well, any reasonable person would have known better than to do that, right?
I don't think so.
Nothing,
I mean,
nothing.
it's just like, what?
Right.
It's like no one would
Like,
have
at this point,
known,
I
like,
can-
this is going to happen.
Right. Like at this point, I can just sleep on something wrong. I can sleep the wrong way. And, now my shoulder, like right now, my neck is killing me because I just slept weird. Like I have no control over that, really.
Yeah, man, it's just a part of getting old, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if like, I guess the like injuries hasn't really gone anywhere exciting. Have you guys ever had like any major surgeries then?
Oh yeah. I had a surgery that only one. I was in 5th grade, actually.
Yeah.
I had to have eye surgery.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
Like I had to go to like, this hospital in San Francisco where they had like a specialist there, and they had to like literally pop my eyeball out of the socket.
What? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I'm not making this up. I mean,
You were asleep, right?
I was like,
That's bonkers.
oh yeah, of course.
like,
But I'm
oh
saying
my
I was
God,
10
that's
years
like-
old, and like I had to get wheeled on a gurney into like an operating theater. Like I was so scared the entire time.
well, yes, and they're gonna pop your eye out of the socket. Come on, like
Yeah.
that. It's like I can't not think of Total Recall when his eyes are popping out when he's like,
Oh,
out
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
things,
when
like,
he's-
they're kind of flat of his
Yeah.
head. Like any kind of like eye stuff, like people getting their eyes pushed into their head, like in movies
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's like, oof.
So I don't know why this is the case. Cause yeah, they gave me anesthesia and I was out, but for some reason before they did that, they had to, I don't understand why I needed to be awake for this. They had to give me like a shot.
Oh my God, stop it.
Like I'm not
Like
making any of this up. I swear.
where your tear duct is.
Yes,
Oh,
like
geez,
between my eyeball and yes, exactly
Come
where
on.
my tear duct is. They stuck a needle in there.
Come on,
and I
come
don't
on.
know-
You were awake.
Yes, I
You gotta be
swear
kidding.
I'm not making this
Listen.
up. I swear.
Corey's going to run screaming.
This is like, like eyes and teeth are like the things that like freak me out the most. It's just like, oh, like
Oh, hey, have you ever had a tooth knocked out?
no,
I mean,
no.
do you consider teeth bones? They kind of are. Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but they're
We can twist it around in terms of like
calciferous material. That's not really a word, probably, but yeah, I got a tooth knocked out one time, so
Jeez.
that was something.
I mean,
But like snapped off, like not
it broke.
at
like
least
an
if the
adult
whole
tooth?
thing came out. Yes, yeah. Like I have an implant, and one of my two front teeth is an implant because I got.
Looks
I
good. I
got.
can't tell. That's great.
It got. Yeah, see,
Very nice.
oh, in the camera.
Those are
yeah.
chompers. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that really sucked pretty bad.
I've had a couple of pretty major surgeries. I guess the worst one was probably going back to Atkins. Probably caused by the way I approached the Atkins diet when I was a teenager in high school. It got to the point in my diet where I was just sick of eating things. I was sick of eating grilled chicken. I was sick of just eating meat and cheese and, bacon and just salads and stuff like that. So I just wouldn't eat a ton of anything. But one thing that I did love to have is after school every day, I would come home and I would make myself a keto milkshake. And by that, I mean ice and heavy whipping cream with Splenda and like vanilla extract blended up in the blender.
That sounds good.
And I was basically just drinking straight heavy whipping cream. Well, while that is technically on that diet and my body stayed in ketosis, the amount of fat that I was putting into my body in a single, sitting, drinking this quote unquote milkshake, cream shake. My liver and my gallbladder could not keep up with bile production to break down those fats, right? So they were working overtime, and I had no idea. Yeah. And one day I came home and made one, drank it, and I just had this horrible pain, like, right here where you might have, my dad thought it was like maybe a hiatal hernia or something like that. It was right at the bottom of my sternum, right here, sort of center of the top of my stomach. Terrible, terrible pain. We went to the doctor, and by the time we got to the doctor, I was dry heaving. I was trying to puke it up, thinking that maybe that would make me feel better. But by the time we got to the doctor, I was straight up turning yellow. I was jaundiced. Like, I was probably like 16 years old or something like that.
Yeah,
turning yellow. My eyes were turning yellow. My skin was turning yellow. It was terrifying. We went in and they gave me an x-ray and they were just like, yeah, your gallbladder is absolutely packed with gallstones. Like you can't fit a single other one in there. And the thing that's giving you pain is that one of them has been pushed into the bile duct between your gallbladder and your stomach. So I had to have emergency, I forget what the procedure is called. It's like ECRP or something like that, where they stick the tube down your throat and they like do everything through the tube. They got the thing out of the bile duct with the ECRP, and that, helped my pain. And then the next day, they went in laparoscopically and took my gallbladder out. So I've not had a gallbladder.
Oh wow, you have no gallbladder.
Yeah, since I was like 16. It's called I think the technical term is it's a cholecystectomy. Is the removal of the gallbladder.
It sounds like it's a difficult word to say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even try.
It was really hard to just say it.
That's I only ever did that like one time when I was on keto. I went to Starbucks and I got like a latte made out of heavy whipping cream.
I mean, I love whipping cream.
But that was only once. Well, everybody does.
But I mean, I could just eat like.
No, and I'll be honest and say that
cool
I never knew that.
So Corey, I'm not talking about like whipped cream. I
know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the worst surgery that I've gone through.
Well, okay, but you mentioned too, so you can't leave the
the other one was
hanging.
more like
what?
I just had a really bad abscess tooth when I was like 12 years old. Just totally randomly happened, and my face swelled up like to the size of like a softball. It was so big that when we finally went in and I had to go to the emergency room because it just got so bad so quickly, and I couldn't even open my mouth. Like it was so painful. The doctor wanted to take pictures of me so that he could like maybe publish me for like this worst case scenario tooth abscess. So I had oral surgery that night, and they put a drain in my mouth, and it drained all the nasty stuff out of there. And then I think the next week I had a root canal. Had my first root canal when I was 12 years old. It was marvelous. And now that tooth is gone entirely because I had nothing but problems with it from then on. Mm-hmm. Crowns wouldn't stay on it. They would keep popping off. So they would have to shave the tooth down and put a new crown on, recrown it, and it would keep popping off and stuff. And eventually, a couple of years ago, I just got it extracted and been fine ever since. So.
One of my molars is kind of like that, where it's like broken apart so much that there's a filling on it, and it's like mostly filling.
Yeah.
And I swear, I don't like my dentist, but every time he's like, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do when this breaks off. And I'm like, that's your job, buddy, is to like do that. Yeah. Like,
why isn't he telling you to get an implant? Like you should get that thing pulled out of there and get an implant.
And he's like, this, I'll put a new filling on it. I don't know if it's going to work, but I don't know. He's like, I don't know what we're going to do. It's like, well, then, should I just go to somebody else who like knows, has an idea?
That's what I would do.
Like he's also the kind of person that makes it. like, he's just like, you got to do this. You need a mouth guard, because like growing up, I had a real problem like with grinding my teeth in my sleep. And because of that, like a lot of my back teeth are like flat, and I have to wear I wear a mouth guard now to prevent that from happening. Because it happens like when I get sick, like if I have like a post nasal drip happening, like I always like grind my teeth really bad in my sleep. And he's like, you got to do this, or else your teeth are just gonna start breaking. And that's like horrifying to even think about in the first place.
But I mean, that sounds like correct though.
Yes.
I don't think he's wrong. I think the other thing you told me is what's more concerning. I don't know where I'm going to,
Yeah.
But somebody has to graduate last in like the dental school class. It sounds like that's kind of who you got.
Like, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what you're going to do. What can we do about this?
The worst dentist who's still allowed to be a dentist.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
So, like in terms of the surgery, I have talked about this many times on our live stream, and this might be old information to certain people, but I had a pilonidal cyst removed.
Hell yeah, the booty cyst.
Yeah, it's like on your tailbone. It's like a cyst on your tailbone. Chris, are you familiar with any of this?
Like you were born with a tail?
Well,
kind
a lot of
thing,
people
or?
like have like a cyst on their tailbone, or around their like tailbone area that is kind of like It's kind of like gunk that's like left over from when you were like formed, I guess. A lot of like garbage kind of like centralizes there, right? Or if
this is all new information for me.
If you were like a twin, sometimes like if there was like two of you, like, or two twins like in the womb, like being formed, sometimes like
that's how twins work. Yeah,
it'll like overtake that twin, and like the little bits of that twin will end up like in this cyst. That makes sense. Probably does not make any sense. But
are you telling us that you ate your twin in the womb?
Well, people will. Yeah, like that's what they'll say.
Is there still a twin, or you're saying then there's not a twin anymore because you like
assimilated it?
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. I mean, but the sizes of people's pilonidal cysts like vary. Mine was not that big, but if I sat on it in certain ways, it would like leak. Like, I don't know if there's like a hole or anything where it would come out, but it'd be just like kind of like not like pus. It was like clear, but if I was sitting in a certain way and I hit it in a certain way, like I would have like a wet spot at the top of my underwear. Where they have it. So I went and I had to get this removed, right? And it was, some people will just go and you can get it like probed and drained. They drain all the liquid out of it, and it like goes away for a few years. But they don't recommend doing that for the long run because they'll like fill up slowly again, and you got to get it done again. So I had mine completely removed, and it really just looked like someone like took a spoon and just like took out a big chunk. And my wife like
took a little gun, and they were like,
yeah, it's like someone took their knife and was like, it makes me think of that Kevin Smith when he talks about that.
Yeah.
It's like someone like took a gun and just like right there, right? So it almost looked like a bullet wound. But my wife like had to like fill it and like clean it every day. I mean, that's how you know that you've met the person that you're
for sure.
And
no, that's if my wife had to do that for me, I'd have to divorce her for her own good. I'm like, I can't look at you anymore.
It's the shame.
Well, she'd like have to like pour like
exactly
was a hydrogen peroxide like in there to clean it, and it like hurt really bad.
Of course it did.
But I mean, as bad as that was, some of the stories that my doctor that removed it told me about, like it doesn't even seem that bad.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me.
Why? I mean, but that's it's fun because I can talk about this because
does this episode get an explicit tag now? Is that
I was just gonna say I don't really know how that works, but I'm gonna have to do something. Like people need to be warned.
Yeah.
And so just so we're clear, I drilled a hole through my thumb, and that almost made you puke.
Oh no!
But the last 5 minutes, you're just totally cool with that.
Not cool. You didn't see my expression when he started talking about it leaking.
I'm questioning a lot of my decision making right now.
Well, the doctor was telling me about like some of the other patients that he's had to remove it from, and he said there's one. It was like the size of a softball. He had to have
I don't need to know any of that.
And he like cut it out, and he like once it removed, he like cut it open, and it was filled with hair and teeth.
Oh my god.
All right, everybody, you've been listening to episode 3 of Here's My Question. But here's my question for you. Are you going to listen to episode 4? I don't blame you if the answer is no.
I mean, it's gross, but it's like,
wow,
it's reality, man.
In all, I mean, I don't want to just make the gross conversation keep going, but my grandma actually had the same thing.
Oh, really?
And like, oh yeah.
Did she
have
have
to
have it just drained, or did she get it like fully removed?
Oh yeah, because it was like she was like sitting on a softball.
Yeah,
because it was on her posterior there, and so yeah, she had like this huge like void.
So did you just make that connection because when I mentioned the one
because of where it was? Well, it wasn't in her tailbone though. I don't think it was because of that, but I'm not really positive. But yeah, like because of where it was, like we had to help her, dress it and whatnot, and it was just like, I don't know.
I had something kind of. I got bit by a brown recluse spider when I was a kid under my arm while I was sleeping. And I went to the emergency room for it, and they drained it and, packed it and all that kind of stuff. And once it finally healed up, like for the longest time, I had just like a pea-shaped dent under my arm where like I guess the skin had just been killed or destroyed.
We don't mess around with those brown recluse spiders, man.
We got a ton of them in the South. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah? I always hear about them. Like, even here in California, like, check your shoes, make sure there's not a. And I'm 45. I don't know, because I've never like there's black widows everywhere outside if I go outside, but I have never in my life seen. I guess they're just really good at being recluses because I've never seen one. But
I think a brown recluse is like the size of a quarter-ish, maybe a little bit bigger, like with its legs and everything. It's about the size of a quarter.
Yeah. So that's about how big a black widow is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I've had black widows in my house. I mean, they're really scary looking, and I've never been bitten by one. I heard it's not really a picnic, but
yeah, I've never seen a black widow. Like
they're disconcerting to look at.
Yeah, because they're
like
so
they're black,
identifiable.
They're shiny, which I think for some reason is like worse. Like at least like a tarantula, it's like hairy. It looks cuddly, whatever. But a black widow, it's like they're black and shiny, and they have like these like thicker legs that taper down to a point,
they
look and then they have
deadly.
They have that red hourglass on their whatever the third one. It's the head, and then the something, and then
the thorax.
We learned about that in like elementary school, right? Like head, thorax, and abdomen or something like that.
Yeah,
so they got
but the thing about a
red
black widow,
hourglass
like they
on
are
their
scary
abdomen.
because they're so identifiable. But that's also what makes me sort of like you can spot a black widow from like 10 feet and be like, "That's a black widow," right?
Yes,
but with a brown recluse, I mean, like house spiders and wolf spiders and stuff like that. Like you got to get really on it, and you're like, "Does it have the little violin? That kind of looks like it might be the little brown violin. I don't know. Is this
what is the violin?
It's a shape on its back that people say looks like the shape of a violin, and that's how most people identify a brown recluse. So yeah, like you'll get way up on it and be like, "Is that one? I don't know. Might be. Could be. I don't know."
And why? I
don't like killing stuff generally speaking, but I mean, I would if I saw anything that even was like suspect, it would be meeting the bottom of my shoe just as a precautionary measure.
Things,
for real,
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the same. Like we have a lot of those the silverfish bugs in the house. I heard they kill spiders. Like they're like good at.
I don't know. They eat paper though, so like I don't care what they kill. Like they're gonna eat your magazines because you don't even put your magazines in bags, right?
Oh, I do.
So like
I do. I put my magazines.
No, that's not true. So you should be more careful with the silverfish.
I've seen a couple in my house, but not a lot. We've been there for like 6 years, and I've only seen like 2.
I mean, I just hate bugs in general. The only bugs I think I like are like lightning bugs.
Oh, ladybugs.
Yeah, what about ladybugs?
I mean, they're okay.
Bro,
they're okay, but I
really?
like lightning bugs.
Ladybugs.
We used to like be so horrible to lightning bugs. We used to go out and take like.
Are you talking about like fireflies?
Fireflies, yeah. I mean, it's
okay. Yeah, I've never seen one of those in person. We don't have
really?
Those here.
Really?
Yeah, they look neat.
Yeah, they are cool. I mean,
they've made a comeback. They made a comeback this summer, which was weird because people were talking about how they were dying, and there were less and less lightning bugs every year. And then this summer, like we had a ton in our yard, way more than I've seen in years.
And they're around for a lot longer. It seemed like too. Like there was usually they only show up for like half of June and most of July.
They're cool. I mean, like, it's terrible to, I mean, you shouldn't kill things, right, in general, but like if you squish them in your fingers, the glow stuff will get on your hands.
It's like predator blood.
Yeah, and it'll keep glowing. Yeah.
What we used to do is and it's horrible to say this, especially after just what you said, but we used to go out and hit them with wiffle ball bats. Oh my God. And they would explode into like
a glowing mist.
And just like, or if you like, you knock them on the ground and you like stomp on them and you drag your feet.
Yeah.
And it's just it's
glowing
like
streak. Yeah.
It's just like it had to have been the inspiration for predator blood.
Yeah,
100%.
I don't know if you caught it, Dustin, but it was a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but a while back. I think Corey and I were doing a live stream together, and like that was like right before, like it was cicadas, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like right before, like the cicadas were coming, and
I was stressed out.
Was it like the 14?
It was so entertaining because he was so terrified
of
sort of the unknown, and I would be too. I would be terrified too. Thankfully, where I live, we don't have those things.
I shared some of the pictures of them with you, like all over that tree in the Target parking lot.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember you talking about like walking outside and just getting pelted with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like my worst nightmare. It's just being.
We didn't get them that bad when they came back. I remember when I was a kid and the 14 years came back, it seemed like they were everywhere, all over the playground at school, just running into you, flying around, making constant noise. But yeah, for some reason where I was when they came back this time, I didn't see very many. I could hear them, but it wasn't like it was before.
I think my worst nightmare is probably having a cyst on my body that it turns out is full of hair and teeth. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's
so if you absorb
like
your twin,
I'll take the cicadas easily.
If you absorb your twin in the womb, does that mean that you like absorb their power and potential?
Yeah, exactly.
You're born with the strength of two men.
It's like, it's like eating somebody's brain and gaining their knowledge.
Yeah. It only makes sense.
So, Chris, Dustin is a huge horror fan.
Yeah.
He's like, he's seen more horror movies than both of us probably combined and multiplied.
I mean, I haven't seen that many horror movies, so
Chris,
that's not saying much.
Any personal favorite horror movies that you really like? What is your favorite? Here's what I want you to do.
All right.
Have you seen like a lot of the Friday the 13th movies?
No.
Do you have to say, here's my question for you?
Oh yeah. You're not following the rules.
Then I'll ask this to Dustin. Okay.
You should, because I'm not really like I don't.
I think this is
I don't like scary movies because they scare me. Like if you want to have a meaningful conversation about horror, you should definitely focus your attention on Dustin.
All right, Dustin. My question for you is, can you rank the first 8,
the Paramount 8, yes,
of Friday the 13th movies? Can you rank them from best to worst?
Yeah, for me, yes, best to worst. Okay, and I'm going to have straight up unpopular opinions. My favorite Friday the 13th movie is Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
That's your favorite?
That's my favorite one. And I think it's because it has everything that I personally want in a Friday the 13th movie, or not just a Friday the 13th movie, but like maybe just an neon washed 80s horror movie, right? It's got some really fun kills. The sauna kill is really great, where he kills the kid with the hot sauna rocks, and the guitar, the punk rock chick. He kills the girl with the guitar. That's super cool. And
the boxer.
The boxer when he ends up in New York, which is actually Toronto in the last part of the movie. The boxer sequence is super great. I think the kill in the dance room where he kills the Asian girl is just like very matter of fact and brutal. There's nothing like really special about it, but the way he just slams her to the ground is just like so like impactful. I don't know. There's a lot to that. And then there's that weird like neon foggy sequence in the bathroom where he sees himself coming out of the bathroom mirror and stuff. I don't know. Like there's a lot to that movie that makes me really appreciate it. And I think that what most people don't like about that movie, or the thing that they complain about, is that it's called Jason Takes Manhattan, and he's not in Manhattan until the last like 20 minutes of the movie, or the last 15 minutes of the movie or something, right? Yeah. And he just ends up sort of lumbering around. And I don't really care about that, because, you know, if they had just named the movie, you know, Friday the 13th Part 8 Killer Cruise or something, I don't think people would care, right? So that doesn't bother me so much. So yeah, 8 is kind of my favorite of the franchise. Number 2 would be probably Part 5, A New Beginning.
Really?
That one is a really interesting one. It's directed by the guy who made this really, really sleazy revenge movie, like girl revenge movie starring Linda Blair called Savage Streets. And he brings a lot of that sort of, you know, late 70s, early 80s exploitation flair to the Jason movie, to Friday the 13th. People don't like that one because Jason's not really in it. It's this other guy named
Well, they
Roy.
didn't really know what to do after, like, it's essentially this, everything kind of came to an end after 4.
Right.
They
Yeah. 4 is even called the final chapter. Right.
Yeah.
So that would probably be my second favorite, as Part 5. Then number 3, probably Part 4. I love the final chapter. I think it's. Oh wait, hold on. Maybe before Part 4, I would have to say Part 6.
Okay, because 6 is definitely my favorite.
Jason Lives. Yeah, Jason Lives is probably the first time that I think they really understood what people wanted out of a Jason movie, and that was Jason being just ridiculously brutal, and that's the birth of Rage Demon Jason, right? That's the only way you can describe what he becomes over the course of that series, is he just turns into a rage demon, where by Part 8 he's just like wet and covered in seaweed, and his skin is just like this gray purple lumpy mess, and he's just breathing. I mean, he's a very different character. Exactly. Exposed ribs and stuff. He's kind of a zombie pro wrestler. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could describe him. So
but that movie has like the excellent Man Behind the Mask Alice Cooper song.
Yes, it does. Yeah, he's back. The man behind the mask. Yeah. And he's out of control. So yeah, after Part 6, then probably Part 4, final chapter is really great. After that, probably Part 2. Part 2 is has one of the more brutal, matter-of-fact kills in the series for me, and that's the first kill, Alice in the house with the ice pick to the head. It's just like so.
It's like in her eye, right?
It's in her temple.
Oh, right, in the side, yeah.
She's looking in the fridge, and he comes up and just slides it in.
And I hate it when I hate it when movies do that. I hate it when they kill off the main character from the previous movie, like immediately at the beginning. Yeah, you know what movie did that? Iron Eagle 2 did that. Like immediately killed off like the main character from the first one. Yeah,
you know what else? What other movie did that?
What's that?
Ewoks: The Battle of Endor. They killed the brother character, Mace, who may or may not have been the inspiration for Mace Windu's name.
Wait, who got killed at the beginning of Iron Eagle 2? Louis Gossett Jr.
or
the other one?
The other guy.
Wow.
The kid. The kid with
so
the red
that would be
t-shirt.
like having like a Top Gun 2 and then Maverick dies in like the first scene.
Exactly. It'd be exactly what it is.
All right. So after Part 2, I'm going to put Part 7 in there, Jason versus Carrie, basically. Yeah. I think that's kind of...
That was a cool like play on it, I think. And that's something I wish that they had kind of gone a little bit further with.
Yeah. It's fun and interesting. I like that one quite a bit. Part 3 is probably the next one on the list. It's boilerplate Jason. It's the first time you see him in the hockey mask, but it's not, it doesn't stand out in any particular. I have watched it in Anaglyph 3D, which gave me a terrible headache.
Right. And like all the 3D elements are just like, here's a harpoon flying at the camera.
Right.
It's just like things just flying out at you really quick.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, a lot of stuff like that. And then my least favorite of the original 8 is the original. I think that's the worst one.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, the first one's interesting because, it's not what people think of, I think.
I think it borrows far too much from Psycho. I mean, the Manfredini score bars a ton from the music of Psycho. I think that the reverse reveal of it actually being Jason's mother at the end is kind of like, a reverse on the Psycho thing. I think that it owes more to Psycho than people actually give it credit for. And it's also just kind of really languidly paced, and there are a couple of good kills in it. It's fun seeing Kevin Bacon and, the Savini, arrow through the neck is an all-timer.
Right.
That's fun. Other than that, I just don't think that it led to things that were much more interesting to me.
Yeah.
I think it deserves its respect and it has its place. But I think of those movies, it's kind of the least interesting one to me.
Was there a one of those movies that came out in maybe 88 ish?
That would probably be Takes Manhattan.
In 88?
I think so.
No.
Oh, don't look it up. You can't.
I can't look it up.
No,
Okay.
you're not allowed to look stuff up. It's just the only thing. I think I've only ever seen
Manhattan
two of
might be
those
89,
movies,
actually.
but maybe I don't know. So then maybe I saw 7 or something. But it was the first R-rated movie I ever saw in the movie theater was a Friday the 13th
Really?
movie, and I saw it. It was just me and my friend. We didn't even have.
Do you remember anything about it?
Adult. No, actually, I don't. Sorry.
Did it have a psychic girl in it fighting Jason?
I really don't remember.
Does he come up from the bottom of a lake, from being chained to the bottom of a lake?
I think so.
That's part 7. Yeah.
Okay.
I never saw it. The only
That sounds familiar.
Friday the 13th movie I ever saw in the theater was Freddy versus Jason. I didn't see any of the other ones in the theater.
Wow.
I mean, I only went and saw that. It was my friend was like, "Hey, let's go see this movie," and I was like, "Oh, it's rated R. We're not allowed."
So-
It's like, it'll be fine.
So you just
and
we
went
saw it
and
and
we didn't have a
you didn't have
adult
to have an
buy
adult
the
saying
tickets.
it's okay.
No, we just the two of us walked up to the box office and we're just 2 for Friday the 13th, and they were like, "Okay, here you go."
Really? I mean, I'd always have to go with I had a parent take me, and I think the first time I remember seeing an R-rated movie when I wasn't old enough without any parental supervision is Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes,
Right.
and Sandra Bullock, and we weren't even allowed to see it, and luckily one of my brother's friends was at the mall when we were there, so he went with us.
And he was over 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey, I mentioned that they found one of the props, the prop naked Stallone from being the frozen Stallone model from Demolition Man. They found it in some warehouse. It's a thing of horrors. You really
his
should.
face is is it scary like the old Ninja Turtle costumes?
Kind of. It hasn't deteriorated quite as much, but yeah, it's an interesting thing to put your eyes on.
It's interesting that you came up with a question of ranking movies because I'm not going to do it today, but or say what it is, but one of the questions on my list is take this whole movie franchise
And rank them from best to worst.
and rank the movies. You know what's kind of cool though, because we didn't talk about this or I didn't even think about it, but if you look at where we today it's the beginning of October, and if you think about the spacing of when this episode is probably going to come out, I think we just kind of unintentionally made an official Halloween episode.
Oh yeah.
between the cysts and the spiders and the Friday the 13th,
Major surgeries, bones breaking, and butt cysts.
Yeah.
Lots of horror. Oh, the horror.
Horror.
Friday the 13th movies though. 6 definitely my favorite. 3 is probably my second favorite, and the rest of them I can kind of take them or leave them. Did you like, Dustin? Did you like Freddy vs. Jason, or did you like? Did you like?
Oh, I love it. I love Freddy vs. Jason. I think it's great.
And it's kind of amazing that it even came to happen.
I know,
but
yeah.
also that it was as good as it ended up being. There's just so much fun stuff in it.
I love Jason X as well. My other big Friday the 13th hot take is that I think the remake is better than the original. And,
I didn't even see that. Is that Platinum Dunes?
Yeah, it is.
That's Michael Bay's company, right?
Yeah. And it looks like we might actually get another Friday the 13th movie soon, because I guess they've They finally figured out that legal junk.
Are they going to reboot again, or are they going to continue on from the other one?
I don't know. They haven't said, but I think the path is now clear for another movie to go into production. So
do you feel like it can work? I mean, I know
somebody can do something with it. Yeah.
Wasn't there just like another Evil Dead movie? There was like another reboot.
There was a. Well, I don't know about a second reboot. But
I think there's like another one that's coming out like sometime this year. Like it's already done.
I think it's a soft reboot. So I think it's maybe in the original continuity. It's called Evil Dead Rise. And they're working on it right now. But I think it's in the original continuity.
Is it going to take into account the events of like Ash versus the Evil Dead?
I would assume it would, unless it takes place before that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's a new director. It's not Raimi. Raimi's producing, but they've got a new director. I can't remember who it is.
Either of you guys ever seen Human Centipede?
Yeah, all of them.
I've never seen them.
Wait, there's more than
there's
one?
There's like three of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I'd never seen any of them, but I can't believe this show is even still on. I didn't know it was still on, but like I used to watch Tosh.0, like when it first started. And it was funny. He did this thing. He ended up having to post the clip on the internet because it was so long. But like he basically explained the whole plot of Human Centipede, and it took him like 45 minutes. Like at some point, like you might as well just watch the movie.
Yeah. How does that even?
I was just,
how do you even
but
talk
just
about
because
that
of his
for 45
delivery
minutes?
and whatnot, it was just because he just went in just excruciating detail, like everything that happened.
Well, it seemed like the second one was like even worse, isn't that? That's one where the woman gives birth, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's like driving and the.
Is it like the same guy, like turning people into centipedes, or?
But it's the same director.
So it's just
Tom Six.
No. But I'm saying it. I don't remember how Human Centipede ends. So I don't remember if the guy.
I think in the second
not,
one, like the villain from the first movie's in it, but like I think he's like pulling the strings, or he's sort of in the background, and it's a new guy that's doing the stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. At some
I watched
point,
them when they
horror
came out.
movies
And I was
just
like, these are not good.
went off the deep end for me. So.
And that's like the guy's claim to fame now, right? Like that he does. Has he done anything else since those?
I don't know. I don't follow Tom Six.
Yeah, they're just like so vile that people always remember probably seeing them. Like the very idea of it, and the fact that they made 3 of them.
Yeah, I'm not much for the shock cinema stuff. Like I love horror. I watch a lot of horror, and I'll watch like the shocking movies, the ones that you shouldn't watch. The Martyrs and the Serbian films and stuff like that. And it's like, that at the end of the day, they more often than not are just not good movies and not worth talking about outside of, wow, wasn't it messed up when that thing that happened in the movie that everyone talked about happened?
Yeah.
There's one thing that you can talk about typically, and then that's it. I don't know that there's not a lot of value in that to me.
Yeah.
Don't you think that like the sequel to Human Centipede should have been called Human Millipede? Like I feel like they missed an obvious one there.
You've got a future in PR, my man. Gotta come up with those titles.
But watching a lot of those, I mean, doesn't that make you feel like? I mean, has there any that are shocking that you have you felt like, wow, that was really messed up? And
the most affecting stuff is not just stuff that's shock for shock's sake, but stuff that I'm actually invested in, and then something happens, and I'm like, it doesn't even have to be that shocking for it to be, effective if I'm invested in the characters and the story. But I would say that probably the scariest movie that for me, or the best movie that I've seen that delves into that kind of like extreme, grand guignol or whatever you want to call it type visual is Antichrist, the Lars von Trier film. Have you guys seen that?
I know of it, but
yeah, it's there's some pretty extreme stuff in the last bit of that movie. It's a real weird one, but it's good. If you're familiar with von Trier's movies at all, like obviously he's a provocateur and he wants to upset and provoke his audience, but yeah, I think that he is also a really good filmmaker and he knows what he's doing. So yeah, Antichrist I think is probably the one of those movies that sort of gets grouped with that other stuff that I think is actually worth the time.
I haven't seen it. I don't plan. Did he do? What was that 2-parter one?
Yeah, Nymphomaniac.
Nymphomaniac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's that? Charlotte Gainsborough is the lead in that. But there's a bunch of people in it. It's sort of like her life as the titular nymphomaniac, and all of her adventures and whatnot. There's a bunch of people in it. Shia LaBeouf's in it.
Yeah.
We were talking about him earlier.
We were talking about him and like having the ability to. I mean, he is very self-deprecating, and that lets him get away with like certain things.
Yeah.
Like if he gets like in trouble, like he gets like criticized for something, like saying or doing something horrible, and he's just like, "You're right," just like admitting it.
Yeah, immediately, and he'll like his go-to move. He's gotten out of like several things this way, where he's just like, "I'm a garbage person. I'm a terrible human being, and I'm just trying to be better every single day, and I'm not worth the filth on your shoes," and all this kind of stuff.
See, I think that's just like a manipulation tactic, though, because I do that. I do that to people. Like if somebody complains that I did something that's like really super minor, like I always just come back with just like, my tag phrase for that is, I'm a real piece of shit. Because it's just like, then the other person feels like that they have to back. No, I'm not saying that, So it sounds to me like that's just what he's doing.
Yeah. And it definitely is. And it's working for him. He managed to turn that whole situation with, what's the name of the Olivia Wilde that's coming out?
Don't Worry, Darling.
Don't Worry, Darling. That's right. Yeah, he turned that whole situation around. And not that she's not at fault for her part in that, but he pulled out the same old thing where he was just like, "That's right. I'm a broken spirit, and I'm trying to mend it every day." There's always like an element of woo, like a little bit of like this sort of like artsy fartsy spirituality or something to the stuff he says. He's like, "That's right. My soul is broken and tattered, but I'm mending it with the threads of patience." Whatever. Yeah, it's working though, I guess.
Apparently, yeah.
But it is absolutely manipulation. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's 90 minutes.
That's 90 minutes. We did it.
Put a pin in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So once again, that was episode 3 of.
It's gonna.
Here's my question for you.
I sort of regret doing the episode 0, because now we're always gonna. It's gonna be.
What?
Like this is episode 3, but it's technically always gonna be. It's the 4th episode that we're releasing, and it's gonna like really mess with me in the long run, probably.
I think the more episodes we do, the less we're gonna care. Like this is right now, it's a problem because it's like only the 3rd/4th episode.
Yeah.
But when it's like when we have like 30 or 40 of them, you're not gonna.
It no longer matters.
Anymore, and I mean, as of us recording this, like we still haven't even released the show yet.
Right.
So I think right now, I think it feels like a bigger deal than it's going to end up being.
Yeah. And I noticed you doing like an episode thing, like on you released that Tandy video, and it's like episode
that nobody
75
watched.
Or something.
Yeah, it's something like that.
It'll have
75.
legs. I promise it'll have legs.
I don't think so. I think I'm getting pretty hosed by the YouTube algorithm on that one. But what are you gonna do?
I still think it's
here's
good
the thing.
advice.
Here's the thing. No, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't regret. The thing is, like, it's more views than I would have gotten.
Yes.
But.
And I bet you
it's still aggravating because I got people telling me like, "Oh yeah, I'm subscribed to your show," and YouTube didn't show it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just annoying.
Yeah, but I think that I bet you all the comments on it have been like positive and happy.
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
for sure. And I was telling my wife that yesterday. It's like it's cool. Like some of the people that have commented, that don't normally watch my show, but like people that I know who they are, like, oh, that guy's like a big name in the retro computing community, or like I showed off like, this guy ported Commander Keen 4 to the Tandy 1000, and I showed the game and I just credited him. I said, hey, it was this guy Frankel did this game, and then like Frankel ended up seeing my video and leaving a comment. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's super cool.
So yeah.
Dustin's in this weird position where he has this one video on his channel that has nothing to do with anything else, and he has millions of views.
Yeah.
it got me a ton of subs, like, and made me a bit of money, you know, when it got caught up in the algorithm. And yeah, like none of my the content that I actually produce that I care about, you know, doesn't get that many views at all. None of that stuff has caught on yet. I have a few people that watch my stuff consistently that I don't know personally that, you know, will comment on all my videos. And that's, you know, it's nice to have that starting out, and I will remember them when and if YouTube, you know, decides to plug me into the, you know, to the algorithm and make it work for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, the video is this little clip from an interview I did when I worked at a TV station. We were on a golf course that's like right next to a nuclear power plant. And as I'm starting the interview, it's time for the monthly power plant siren test, right?
Oh, no.
And this siren goes off and, you know, instead of like stopping the interview, I'm just going to record this. Tell me what's going on here. And the guy I was talking to was just like, oh, well, that's Sequoia Power Plant over there, and it's the first Wednesday of the month at noon. Yep, it is. If you hear that and it's not the first Wednesday of the month at noon, it's time to get out of Dodge. You got to go, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah. And it's a real short clip. It's like 60 seconds or something, less than 60 seconds. And it got, you know, sucked up into the algorithm, and all these people started watching it and commenting on it. And you had this whole subset of people that I guess are into sirens. So,
oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah,
that's a thing on YouTube. Yeah,
yeah. So, and these people
air raid sirens and tornado sirens,
commenting on there, arguing about what kind of siren it is. It's like, oh, that's a good old, you know, F647 or you know,
yep.
I don't know. But yeah, so that got me like, you know, 2,500 subs or something. And that cool. None of that translated into actual viewership for my normal stuff, because of course it doesn't.
Yeah,
but
it happens.
It got me monetized, and that's okay. So I'm okay with that.
Well, since we're wrapping up the show and talking about your show, why don't you do me a favor and plug your show one more time?
Yeah, sure. So again, the name of my channel is just my name, Dustin Kramer, Kramer with a K. But the name of the show is From Camera to Console. And I just released a new episode. Hopefully by the time this comes out, I'll have another video out, but no promises because I'm real bad at that. But as of right now, the last episode I just released last week is about Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill Slaps and Beans, and I played the Switch version. It's based on basically the career of these two Italian comedian / actors that made spaghetti westerns and adventure movies and things like that. And I sort of go into the history of the spaghetti western and the history of the double act, you know, as a concept, like Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello and stuff. And then I delve into the game later on, and yeah, it's a good time. So
wow, that sounds like a cool video for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, once again, that was episode 3 of Here's My Question for You. And apologies for, I'll try to put a trigger warning or something in the show.
I should be the one to apologize. I'm sorry for the grossness of.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that I had a
really
system
went off the rails a little bit
on my tailbone.
Let's not get back into that.
For the record, mine was not the one that was filled with hair and teeth. Okay?
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah,
I didn't even get to see it. He didn't even show me afterwards.
Well, there's probably like a HIPAA things at play there. You know, like you can't just take a picture of someone's hairy, toothy cyst without their permission. So, all right, well, that is going to do it for this episode. So, once again, thanks for listening / watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Take care.
Later.